I'm so glad you found your way here. Somewhere in the quiet hours of the night, your brain is gently replaying childhood scenes, not to disturb you, but to tend to you. Tonight, you'll understand why this nightly return is a form of healing. Welcome to Psychology for Sleep. Now, settle in. You're safe in this quiet space while your brain attends to memory with a patience the waking day rarely allows. We'll journey through 100 psychology facts about the sleeping mind, from the hippocampus softly reading old scenes, to the emotional centers reweighing what hurt, to the bridges between who you were and who you are. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. You're resting where old memories sit quietly beside you. Let your mind soften with compassionate care. And now we begin. Your brain replays childhood memories during sleep through a process neuroscientists call memory consolidation. Every night, while you rest, your hippocampus, the seahorse-shaped structure deep in your brain, quietly reviews the moments it filed away during your earliest years. It's not choosing these memories randomly. It's selecting fragments that still carry unresolved emotional weight and gently presenting them to the rest of your brain for reinterpretation. Scientists at the University of California, Berkeley have shown that this nightly replay is fundamental to how you learn, heal, and grow. So the question that will guide our journey tonight is this: why does your brain replay childhood memories while you sleep? The answer, as we'll discover, is kinder than you might expect. The hippocampus in an adult brain is about the size of a curled pinky finger. Yet, it holds the architecture of nearly every long-term memory you've ever formed. During slow-wave sleep, the deepest stage of non-REM rest, this small structure sends delicate electrical pulses to the neocortex, the wrinkled outer layer where permanent memories are stored. Each pulse carries a fragment of your lived experience. Researchers using fMRI scans have watched this conversation happen in real time. It's slow, rhythmic, and astonishingly gentle, almost like one friend whispering to another across a quiet room. Tonight, your hippocampus is whispering too. And nothing about that is cause for concern. Childhood memories have a unique quality in the brain. They're often encoded before language fully matures. A study published in the journal Nature Neuroscience in 2023 found that pre-verbal memories, those formed before around age 3, are stored differently than later ones. They live more in the body than in words, more in feeling than in narrative. When your brain replays these early memories at night, it's often replaying sensations, a warmth, a softness, a sound, rather than full scenes. This is why childhood memories sometimes surface as a feeling you can't quite name upon waking. They were never words to begin with. The emotional intensity of childhood memories is not a sign of unresolved trauma. It's a sign that your younger self experienced the world with what psychologists call emotional transparency, meaning there were fewer filters between sensation and feeling. Children, especially before age 7, perceive events with remarkable depth because the prefrontal cortex, the brain's rational moderator, is still developing. So memories from those years carry more emotional charge, simply because that's how they were originally recorded. When your sleeping brain revisits them now, it's not amplifying the feeling. It's meeting it exactly as it was first felt, and beginning the quiet work of softening what needs softening. During REM sleep, the stage when most vivid dreaming occurs, your amygdala, the brain's emotional core, becomes highly active, while stress hormone levels drop to their lowest point of the entire 24-hour cycle. This is not accidental. Research, led by Dr. Matthew Walker at the University of California, Berkeley, suggests REM sleep functions as what he calls an overnight therapy session. Your brain revisits emotional memories in a chemical environment free from the acid of cortisol. It's as if the mind found a way to reread old letters without the original sting of ink. Whatever rises up tonight is being held in a softer light than the one that first wrote it. The reason childhood memories return more often during sleep than during waking hours is simple. Your daytime mind is too busy. The default mode network, the part of your brain that handles self-referential thought and autobiographical memory, is most freely active when external demands are low. During sleep, with no emails to answer, no conversations to navigate, no plans to make, this network opens wide. It's like a library that stays closed during the bustling day and only unlocks its deeper archives after everyone has gone home. Your youngest self lives on a shelf that only opens in stillness. Neuroscientists have identified a specific electrical pattern called a sharp wave ripple that occurs in the hippocampus during sleep. Each ripple lasts only about 50 milliseconds, shorter than a blink, yet within that flash, an entire memory sequence can be replayed at a compressed speed. A study in the journal Science demonstrated that these ripples are essential for memory stabilization. Your brain may process hundreds of these tiny replays per hour of deep sleep. Most of what rises through them never reaches conscious awareness. You simply wake feeling lighter, a little more yourself, without knowing why. The work happened in whispers too quick for the waking mind to follow. Not all childhood memories are treated equally during sleep. The brain prioritizes memories tagged with strong emotion, whether joyful or painful, because these carry survival-relevant information. A 2022 meta-analysis published in the journal Sleep found that emotionally charged memories are up to 4 times more likely to be consolidated during REM sleep than neutral ones. This sounds intense, but it's actually a form of efficiency. Your brain isn't dwelling on the past. It's making sure the lessons woven into those strong moments aren't lost. It's prioritizing what matters to your deepest sense of self, even when that self wore smaller shoes. The glymphatic system, a waste clearance pathway in the brain that becomes most active during sleep, has been proposed to play a supporting role in memory processing, though human evidence is still emerging. Initially identified in mouse studies in 2013, its function in humans is an area of active research, with findings suggesting similar mechanisms likely exist. While the sleeping brain reviews memories, cerebrospinal fluid moves through it, clearing metabolic byproducts accumulated during waking hours. This may be why you wake clearer after a full night's sleep. The replay and the cleansing appear to happen together, a quiet housekeeping of both thought and matter. Sleep is neither idle nor inert. It's tending. So yes, your brain is already changing our understanding of memory by showing us that the past is not static, but gently living. Every night, the scenes you thought were sealed away are being read again, softly, by a version of you who knows more now than you did then. This is the first thesis of our journey. Memory is not storage. It's conversation. The child you were is quite literally being spoken to, in the language of neural rhythm, by the adult brain that grew around them. Nothing is being awakened that isn't ready to be met. Nothing is surfacing that isn't also being soothed. The default mode network I mentioned earlier has been called the brain's biographer. It's the collection of regions that becomes most active when you're thinking about yourself, your past, your future, or letting your mind wander. Studies using functional magnetic resonance imaging show this network is remarkably active during both daydreaming and REM sleep. It's the part of you that assembles the story of your life out of fragments. When childhood memories surface at night, they're being edited by your biographer, who has read many more chapters than the child could. Old events are being gently reframed through the wisdom of everything that came after. One of the most fascinating discoveries of recent neuroscience is that the brain doesn't distinguish sharply between remembering and imagining. The same brain regions light up when you recall a childhood home as when you imagine walking through it. This means that when your sleeping mind replays an early memory, it's also, subtly, imagining it anew. Researchers at Harvard Medical School found that each act of remembering slightly updates the memory itself. So the version of your childhood that your brain plays tonight is already softened by every night before. You are not stuck with the original recording. It has been lovingly revised. A curious quality of childhood memories is that they often contain impossible details. Rooms that were never that large. Summers that were never quite that golden. This isn't failure. It's a feature of emotional encoding. The brain preserves the felt truth of a moment, rather than its photographic reality. Neuroscientists call this emotional schema. When your sleeping brain revisits these schemas, it's visiting the meaning of the moment, not its literal form. The light in that kitchen wasn't really that soft, but it felt that soft to you, and your brain honored the feeling. Tonight, that feeling is being tended to, exactly as it was first known. Sleep spindles are brief bursts of brain activity that occur during non-REM sleep, lasting about half a second each. Research published in the journal Neuron in 2023 showed that sleep spindles play a crucial role in transferring memories from short-term to long-term storage. A healthy adult brain generates up to 1,000 spindles per night. Each one carries a small package of experience, lifting it gently from one storage area to another. If you imagine your brain as an old house with many rooms, the spindles are the quiet caretakers moving forgotten boxes from the attic to safer, more accessible shelves. Nothing is being discarded, only rearranged with care. The reason childhood memories often feel different from adult ones is partly chemical. A child's brain produces more of a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine during waking hours, which enhances memory formation with a particular vividness. This is why a smell, a song, a texture from childhood can feel so immediate decades later. When these memories are replayed during sleep, they retain some of that original chemical richness. They don't replay as flat recordings, but as embodied experiences. You might almost taste something from long ago. Your brain isn't tricking you. It's honoring the full depth of how that moment was first encoded. Dreams that feature childhood often occur in a specific kind of REM sleep called tonic REM, which tends to happen in the early hours of the night. This stage is characterized by relatively calm eye movements and a gentle, contemplative quality, as opposed to the more action-packed phasic REM that comes later. Researchers describe tonic REM as reflective rather than reactive. This is why early night dreams often feel like visits rather than adventures. Your sleeping brain is choosing a specific emotional register for these old memories. A quiet one, meant for listening. The choice itself is an act of care. Memories of your earliest years, before age 3, are sometimes called infantile amnesia because they rarely emerge as explicit narrative recollections. But studies using implicit memory tests have shown that these early experiences still shape your adult brain. A 2021 study in the journal Current Biology found that pre-verbal memories continue to influence emotional regulation and attachment patterns well into adulthood. When your brain replays these memories during sleep, it's often in the form of feelings or sensations rather than images. They're felt more than remembered. So if you wake sometimes with an emotion whose source you can't locate, your brain may be tending to someone very small, very safely. The hippocampus doesn't work alone during memory replay. It coordinates with the prefrontal cortex, the most evolved region of the brain, located just behind your forehead. This region brings wisdom, judgment, and context to whatever the hippocampus surfaces. In a way, the prefrontal cortex is the compassionate adult witness to the hippocampus's inner child. Every night, they sit together in the quiet of sleep, and together they review what was once overwhelming. The adult part of you isn't asleep in those moments. It's present, listening, integrating. You are, in the deepest sense, accompanying yourself through the memories your younger self couldn't yet hold alone. Researchers have discovered that the brain can perform what's called targeted memory reactivation during sleep. If a specific sound or smell is paired with a memory during learning and then represented softly during sleep, the brain will preferentially replay the associated memory. A 2022 study in the journal Cerebral Cortex demonstrated this effect in adults. This suggests that your everyday environment, the scents in your home, the familiar sounds of night, can gently cue which childhood memories surface. Nothing arises by chance. The quiet fabric of your present life weaves itself into the replay, inviting particular moments from long ago to sit quietly with you now. Not all sleep is equal when it comes to memory replay. Slow-wave sleep, the deepest and most restorative stage, is dominated by large, rolling brain waves called delta waves. These waves create the neural conditions for hippocampal memory reactivation. If you don't get enough slow-wave sleep, this gentle replay is reduced. A chronic deficit of deep sleep has been linked in research to difficulty processing emotional experiences, which means that the replay you're experiencing tonight isn't an intrusion. It's a gift. Your brain has finally reached the state where it can tenderly revisit what the waking day didn't have time to honor. A 2020 study in the journal Trends in Cognitive Sciences proposed that the brain uses sleep to perform what researchers call memory integration, the process of weaving new experiences into the existing tapestry of self. Childhood memories are often deeply woven into this tapestry because they form its earliest threads. When new adult experiences echo childhood patterns, the brain gently revisits the original threads during sleep to update the pattern. This is why certain life events, becoming a parent, losing someone, returning to a familiar place, often trigger vivid childhood dreams. Your brain is stitching, carefully, the old and the new into something more whole. The emotional tone of childhood memory replay is regulated by a small cluster of brain regions called the salience network, which works during sleep to modulate how intensely memories are felt. This network includes the anterior insular and the anterior cingulate cortex. When it functions well, painful memories can be revisited with reduced emotional reactivity. A 2023 review in the journal Nature Reviews Neuroscience described this as emotional discounting. It's as if your sleeping brain adds a soft filter to the lens through which old feelings are re-seen. The memory remains, but the sharpness eases. This is healing, happening quietly, without your conscious effort. Interestingly, the brain seems to favor replay of memories that are incomplete in some way. Memories with unresolved emotional or narrative threads. This is consistent with what psychologists call the Zeigarnik effect, the mind's tendency to remember unfinished tasks more vividly. In sleep, this effect extends to unfinished feelings. Your brain returns to childhood moments where something wanted more attention, more understanding, more care, and it attempts to offer what was once missing, not literally, but chemically and neurologically. The replay itself is a form of belated tending. The child you were is, in a very real sense, being answered. Research on memory reconsolidation, the process by which retrieved memories become temporarily flexible before being restored, has revolutionized our understanding of how the past can be gentled. A 2021 study in the journal Science showed that every time a memory is retrieved during sleep, it enters a brief window of malleability. Small updates can be made during this window. The emotional charge can soften. The narrative can shift slightly. Over many nights of repeated replay, a difficult childhood memory can genuinely become less painful. This is not forgetting. It's a kind of patient, neurological kindness. The past is being rewritten in the softest ink. These observations reveal that your brain is not a passive archive of childhood. It's an active, compassionate editor. Every night of sleep is another draft, another gentle revision of the story, of who you are. The memories that surface aren't ghosts demanding attention. They're chapters being reread by an older, wiser narrator. The hippocampus, the neocortex, the prefrontal cortex, all cooperate in this nightly work. Nothing is surfacing, that isn't also being met with care. Nothing is being replayed that isn't also being softened. The child you were is not knocking at the door of your sleep to disturb you. They're being visited in the quietest possible way by the adult you've become. You've been with us for a while now, and your breathing has likely softened without you noticing. A soft subscribe helps another sleepless mind find this sanctuary too. Now, let's pause together. One sleepy soul at a time. Breathe in slowly, and let the breath find every quiet corner of your body. Feel the weight of your head against the pillow. Feel your hands at rest. Somewhere inside you, a very young version of yourself is resting too, held by the same breath, cared for by the same gentle attention. You don't have to find them. You don't have to remember anything. Simply knowing they are welcome here is enough. The past is softening. The night is holding you, and the breath keeps coming. Slow, faithful, unhurried. You are, in this moment, tending to yourself at every age you've ever been. The neuroscience of emotional memory has been transformed in the past 2 decades by the discovery that memory is not a single system, but many. Childhood memories are stored across explicit networks, which handle facts and events, and implicit networks, which hold procedures, habits, and emotional patterns. Research at New York University demonstrated that these 2 systems interact most freely during sleep. This is why a childhood memory replayed at night can unlock something procedural: a sense of safety, a way of breathing, a softness of the shoulders that no waking recollection alone ever could. Your body remembers what your mind doesn't always have words for. A landmark 2019 study, published in the journal Nature Communications, used brain imaging to show that during REM sleep, connections between the amygdala and the hippocampus become temporarily reduced. This is believed to be why emotionally charged memories can be revisited without the same physiological fight or flight response they originally triggered. The science suggests your sleeping brain has found a way to review painful chapters while keeping the alarm system quiet. It's like rereading an old letter by a gentle lamp instead of the lightning that first delivered it. The meaning remains. The storm does not. The concept of autobiographical memory, your sense of a continuous self across time, is deeply dependent on sleep. Research from the University of Cambridge has shown that when sleep is disrupted, the integration of daily experiences into one's life story becomes fragmented. Childhood memories are the anchor points of this story. Every night of replay reinforces the thread connecting the child you were to the adult you are. You are not 2 different people, the small one and the grown one. You are one continuous being, and your brain is, night by night, stitching you together with infinite patience. Neuroscientists studying what's called sleep-dependent emotional regulation have found that the same memory can feel different after a night of good sleep. A 2022 experiment at the University of California, Irvine, showed that participants reported decreased emotional intensity around sad memories after restorative sleep, compared to the same memories recalled after sleep deprivation. This finding has gentle implications for your own experience. The childhood moments that feel heavy today may feel lighter after tonight. Not because they're gone, but because they've been carefully tended to in the hours you weren't watching. The brain's capacity to rewrite emotional memories during sleep is sometimes called the overnight integration effect. Researchers at Northwestern University proposed in 2020 that this effect is strongest for memories that are emotionally meaningful but not actively distressing. Your brain seems to know the difference. Deeply traumatic memories may need additional support beyond sleep alone. But the ordinary childhood sorrows, the small disappointments, the forgotten hurts, are well within the healing reach of nightly replay. Most of what surfaces tonight belongs exactly in this softer category. Your brain is handling what it was designed to handle. A curious phenomenon observed in sleep labs is that people who have recently experienced emotional events often dream in fragments, short, symbolic snippets rather than coherent stories. Researchers interpret this as the brain actively disassembling the experience into components before reintegrating them. Childhood memories often surface this way too. Asa color, a texture, a half-heard word. This isn't incoherence. It's careful deconstruction. Your sleeping mind is taking apart the felt meaning of old moments in order to rebuild them with new perspective. Each fragment is being turned over in a gentle hand before being set back down. The parasympathetic nervous system, the branch responsible for rest and restoration, is fully activated during slow-wave sleep. This means that when childhood memories are replayed in this stage, they're being revisited within a state of deep physiological calm. Your body is the opposite of alarmed. It's breathing slowly. Your heart rate has descended. Cortisol is low. Whatever arises is being met by the most soothing chemistry your body can produce. This is why sleep-based processing often feels different from waking, remembering. The ground itself is softer. The air is kinder. The visit is happening in the garden of your own restoration. A 2023 study in the journal Current Biology explored the concept of memory superposition. The idea that the brain can simultaneously hold multiple versions of the same memory. During sleep, these versions blend and reconcile. A childhood memory that once felt only painful may, over many nights, gain new dimensions. A moment of kindness noticed later. A context understood with adult eyes. Your brain is running parallel versions of your past and gently blending them toward truth. The singular, fixed memory is a myth. What you have, instead, is a living relationship with your history, constantly being refined. The temporal cortex, the region of the brain associated with auditory processing and language, becomes unusually active during certain phases of REM sleep. Research suggests this is when auditory memories from childhood, a lullaby, a voice, a particular silence, are most likely to replay. This is why childhood-era songs can feel so emotionally potent when they unexpectedly surface in adult life. Your brain remembers sound with remarkable fidelity. If something is echoing in your sleep tonight from long ago, it was recorded carefully and it's being played back with the gentlest of speakers. Sleep researchers at the Max Planck Institute discovered in 2022 that the brain seems to prioritize memory replay based on future utility, not just emotional weight. Memories that might help you navigate similar situations in the future get more replay time. This is why childhood experiences that shaped your emotional responses often re-emerge during significant life transitions. Your brain isn't getting stuck. It's consulting the archive for useful precedents. The child, you will learn something important, and your sleeping adult brain is quietly asking them to share it with you now. Across the long bridge of time, the concept of emotional learning refers to the process by which the brain encodes how something felt, not just what happened. Childhood is particularly rich in emotional learning because the developing brain has heightened sensitivity to emotional salience. When these memories replay during sleep, they're not just stories being retold. They're lessons being revised in the light of accumulated experience. You are not the same student who first learned those lessons. The adult who listens tonight can hear what the child couldn't yet articulate and gently correct old conclusions that were never quite true. A gentle discovery from recent sleep science is that napping, not just nighttime sleep, supports emotional memory processing. A 2021 study found that even 90 minutes of daytime sleep can reduce the emotional intensity of recently recalled memories. This suggests your brain uses every available window of rest to continue its careful work. The memories of childhood that feel lighter some mornings were not processed all at once. They were tended to in many small installments, across many small rests. Healing, as the brain practices it, happens in the patient rhythm of breath and sleep, over and over again. The default mode network, during sleep, appears to engage in what neuroscientists call self-referential processing, the continuous updating of who you believe yourself to be. Childhood memories are a primary ingredient in this process. Every night, your sense of self is being quietly refined based on what the brain replays and what it integrates. You wake each morning very slightly different from the person who fell asleep, not because anything dramatic happened, but because your brain has been in faithful conversation with every version of you. The child you were is, in a sense, still shaping who you're becoming. Some researchers, including Dr. Rosalind Cartwright at Rush Medical Center, spent decades studying how dreams incorporate emotional material from waking life. Her research found that healthy emotional processing during sleep tends to move challenging experiences toward resolution over time. A childhood memory that recurs in dreams over many nights often undergoes subtle changes: smaller emotional charge, clearer narrative, eventual quiet. This is the brain's own form of integration, unfolding slowly, the way a river smooths a stone. You are not stuck with the version of the past that haunts you. Something older and wiser inside you is softening it. This evidence suggests that childhood memory replay during sleep and emotional well-being are deeply connected. Multiple independent lines of research in neuroscience, clinical psychology, and dream science all point to the same conclusion. The sleeping brain is not a passive machine that happens to recycle old data. It's an active, patient caretaker of your emotional history. The second thesis of our journey is emerging clearly now. The replay is not the wound, it's the cure. What surfaces tonight is not a problem arising. It's a healing quietly underway, following rhythms older than language, older than memory itself. You're still here with us. And that's something we want you to know. We notice. Your breathing has found its own quiet rhythm. Let's continue together. Slowly, softly, one gentle fact at a time. If the sleeping brain is genuinely capable of softening emotional memories, this has profound implications for how we understand adult well-being. A 2023 review in the journal Psychological Science proposed that many forms of emotional resilience may be built, in part, through effective nightly memory processing. The childhood memories that surface for you are not a private problem. They are shared, in various forms, by nearly every human who has ever grown up and grown older. Your brain is doing what brains have done across generations, carrying the past forward gently, one night of sleep at a time. The relationship between sleep quality and emotional health is bidirectional. Poor sleep can intensify emotional memories, while healthy sleep softens them. Research from Harvard Medical School has shown that cumulative sleep debt is associated with increased emotional reactivity to past events. The kindest thing you can do for your childhood memories, and for the child you were, is to rest well tonight. Not to analyze, not to confront, not to push through. Simply to let the sleeping brain do what it already knows how to do. You are giving someone small inside you exactly what they need, which is your willingness to rest. Emotional memory processing during sleep appears to engage many brain regions that also mediate self-compassion during waking hours. The insula, the anterior cingulate cortex, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. These are the areas that light up when you treat yourself with kindness. Research suggests that during REM sleep, these same regions coordinate to handle emotional memories with a similar gentleness. Your brain already knows how to be compassionate toward your past. You don't have to learn it. You only have to let it happen. Tonight, it's happening. Whether or not you know it, that's how natural the kindness is. There's a phenomenon neuroscientists have identified called memory trace relocation, in which memories that were originally stored in the hippocampus gradually migrate to the neocortex over time. This process takes years and happens largely during sleep. Childhood memories that now feel less sharp than they once did have been relocated. They no longer live in the reactive part of the brain. They've moved into a more integrated, narrative home. This is why certain memories, once overwhelming, can now be held like small, quiet treasures. The architecture of where a memory lives changes its emotional weight, and sleep is the mover. The vagus nerve, the longest cranial nerve, connects the brain to many of the body's major organs and plays a central role in the parasympathetic response. Its activity tends to increase during restorative sleep. Polyvagal theory, proposed by Stephen Porges and currently debated in the scientific community, suggests that vagal tone influences emotional regulation. Though some aspects remain under active investigation, what's less controversial is that sleep supports parasympathetic activity, and parasympathetic activity supports the gentler processing of emotional memories. The nervous system and the sleeping mind are working together, quietly, in a partnership that predates human understanding. A 2021 study in the journal Sleep Medicine Reviews examined the role of dreams in processing attachment-related memories, those tied to early relationships with caregivers. The research found that dreams can serve as a space where insecure attachment patterns gradually undergo integration. If your childhood included moments of uncertainty and connection, your sleeping brain has been working, night by night, to offer something closer to repair. This work is invisible, slow, and cumulative. It's not a cure in any dramatic sense. It's a patient companionship that simply never stops. Your sleeping self is standing with your child self. The idea of emotional inheritance, that patterns from one generation can be transmitted implicitly to the next, has been explored in recent neuroscience. Research on maternal stress responses and infant development, for instance, suggests that some emotional patterns begin forming before birth. When your sleeping brain replays early memories, it may also be processing inherited emotional templates, not just personal ones. The child you were was already carrying something when they arrived. Sleep is a space where even this older, pre-personal material can be gently held. You are tending to more than yourself in the deepest hours. Brain imaging studies of long-term meditators have shown measurable changes in the default mode network, the same network involved in memory replay. This suggests that practices which cultivate compassion and presence during waking hours may complement the natural healing work of sleep. You don't have to meditate to receive the benefits of nightly memory processing. It happens automatically. But the gentle attention you bring to your own inner life during the day may support and amplify what your brain does at night. The child you were benefits from both kinds of care, the sleeping kind and the waking kind. A surprising finding from recent sleep science is that positive childhood memories are also replayed during sleep, not just the difficult ones. Research suggests the brain equally values moments of joy and safety, reactivating them to reinforce their emotional imprint. If your childhood included moments of genuine comfort, warmth, or love, these are being visited tonight. 2. The brain doesn't only tend to wounds, it also polishes treasures somewhere in the quiet hours. Your sleeping mind may be returning to a specific afternoon, a specific smile, a specific sound, simply to remember that it was real and it was yours. Halfway through our journey, the answer is emerging, and it's quieter than you might have expected. Your brain replays childhood memories during sleep because it is, in the most literal sense, loving you across time. It's holding the child you were with, the knowledge the adult has earned. It's softening what needs softening. It's brightening what was always beautiful. It's weaving together a self more whole than waking life usually allows. The mystery of midnight memory is not a haunting. It's a tending. You are not alone in your sleep. You are in very good company, with every version of yourself, gathered quietly around the same steady breath. Halfway now. Feel how far you've come on the quiet breath of this hour. Somewhere inside, something has softened. You don't need to identify it. You don't need to name it. Simply know that time is passing kindly through you. The child you were is sleeping too, held within the larger sleep of who you've become. Every breath reaches further back than the body knows. Every exhale releases a little more weight you never chose to carry. You are, in this moment, a single candle whose light reaches through many rooms of the house of your life, gently warming each one. We now understand that memory is less like a photograph and more like a song. Each time it's played, it gains subtle new notes and loses others. Childhood memories, played in the night song of sleep, are no exception. The melody you hear tonight is related to the one first composed, but it is not identical. It has been softened by every replay, gentled by every sleeping witness. What you have now is not the original recording. It is something more personal, more tender. It is the song your life has been teaching your younger self to sing. Researchers studying older adults have found that memory replay during sleep continues throughout life. Though the content and quality shift, elderly participants often report more frequent dreams of early life. Neuroscientists interpret this as the brain reviewing its foundational chapters with renewed attention, perhaps integrating them with the full arc of a life lived. If you are older, the deep sweetness of certain childhood memories that now return is your brain's way of honoring the full architecture of who you've been. The earliest rooms of your inner house are being revisited by the one who knows the whole floor plan. Dreams during childhood itself tend to be more concrete, more sensory, more tied to immediate experience. As we grow, dreams become more symbolic, more integrative. This shift reflects the maturing brain's increasing capacity for abstract thought. When you dream of childhood now, you are dreaming with adult tools about child material. The dream itself is a kind of translation, childhood, understood in the language of everything you've learned since. It's a gift that only adulthood can give, and only sleep can deliver. The child you were never had access to this quality of reflection. You offer it to them now. The hippocampus contains a specific region called the dentate gyrus, which is one of very few brain areas where new neurons may continue to be generated in adulthood. Though the extent of this in humans is still actively debated, what seems clearer is that hippocampal function supports memory flexibility. Your brain, even now, retains some capacity for change. The memories from long ago are not frozen in a dead region. They live in an area that still breathes. Sleep is the time when this living tissue does its quietest, most patient work. You are not a fixed archive. You are a continuing story. A concept called mnemic consolidation, introduced in neuroscience to describe how memories become more stable over time, has been refined in recent years. We now understand that consolidation is not just stabilization, it's also transformation. Each episode of replay during sleep both strengthens and alters the memory. The hippocampus gradually releases its grip, and the memory becomes part of a broader semantic fabric. Your childhood, as stored in your brain tonight, is already different from how it was stored a year ago. And a year from now, it will be different still. This is not loss. It's becoming. The prefrontal cortex continues to develop into the mid-20s. which means the childhood memories formed before this maturation were encoded without full executive oversight. During adult sleep, this now matured prefrontal cortex revisits those memories and adds context the child couldn't provide. An action that seemed unexplained can now be understood. A reaction that felt disproportionate can now be put in perspective. The adult brain is, in a very real sense, the adult presence the child memory needed and didn't yet have. That presence is offered freely, every night. In sleep, emotional memories are particularly sensitive to a brain chemical called noradrenaline, which is high during stressful events and much lower during REM sleep. Researchers have proposed that this low noradrenaline state during REM is why emotional memories can be revisited without re-triggering the original stress response. Your brain has designed a specific chemistry for safe emotional review. It's not an accident. It's an evolutionary elegance. Tonight, whatever surfaces is being met with the gentlest biochemistry your brain can create. The safety is not a feeling you have to manufacture. It's built into the rest itself. The concept of narrative identity, developed by psychologist Dan McAdams, describes how people construct their sense of self through the stories they tell about their lives. These stories are heavily informed by childhood memories. During sleep, the brain appears to continue this narrative work without conscious oversight. Small adjustments are made to the emotional tone of certain chapters. Minor reweighings of cause and effect. Gentle reframings of what certain events meant. The version of your life story you will carry tomorrow is subtly different from today's. Sleep is the editor you never hired, working without a paycheck, out of sheer fidelity. A surprising aspect of sleep research is that memory replay can occur even for experiences we don't consciously remember having. The brain encodes far more than it makes available to waking awareness. Implicit childhood memories. Those that shape us without being retrievable as stories are still being processed in sleep. This is why you can sometimes feel a shift in your emotional landscape after a period of deep rest, without knowing what changed. Healing is happening below the surface of conscious recognition. You don't need to know what your brain is tending to for the tending to work. The phenomenon of lucid dreaming, in which the sleeper becomes aware they are dreaming, has been linked in research to increased prefrontal activity during REM sleep. Interestingly, some studies suggest that lucid dreams can be used to revisit and gently alter childhood memories. While most of us don't practice lucid dreaming, our non-lucid sleep still performs similar work. Just without our conscious input, you don't have to direct your brain. The direction has always been built in. Your sleeping self is already the wise guide. You are simply being guided. Research on dream content has found that about half of all dreams contain some element from the distant past, often from childhood or adolescence. This is true across cultures, age, and sleep conditions. Far from being unusual, the appearance of childhood in dreams is one of the most universal features of human sleep. If your dreams tonight carry echoes of long ago, you are part of an ancient human rhythm. Everyone who has ever slept has returned, in some form, to who they were. You are not strange. You are simply alive. The amygdala often called the brain's alarm system, is actually involved in both fearful and joyful emotional processing. During REM sleep, its activity pattern shifts. Positive emotional memories are processed with particular care, reinforced, integrated, and given appropriate weight in the self-narrative. If childhood contained moments of genuine goodness, your amygdala is preserving those too. The brain does not only remember wounds, it remembers warmth your body carries. In its sleeping circuits, a library of every kindness ever shown to you. And every one of those memories is being tended with quiet respect. A concept called retrograde facilitation describes how sleep can actually improve memory for events that occurred just before falling asleep. This effect, observed in sleep labs across multiple decades, suggests that the brain gives preferential treatment to material recently encoded. It may be why thoughts about childhood before bedtime often result in more vivid nighttime processing. If you've been holding something in mind as you settle in, your brain is already preparing to tend to it. You do not need to try. The preparation happens quietly. In the space between waking thought and first dream, the sleeping brain exhibits what neuroscientists call spontaneous emotional processing, meaning it attends to emotional material without needing external cues. This processing has been linked, in multiple studies, to improvements in next-day mood and emotional resilience. Whatever childhood memories your brain selects tonight, it is selecting them because some inner logic has deemed them ready. You are not choosing what arises. The choice has been made by something wiser than conscious decision-making. A deep, biological intelligence that knows the right moment for each gentle visit. We now understand that the sleeping mind is, in a real sense, a second consciousness, not less valuable than waking consciousness, simply different. It operates with different rules, different priorities, different chemistry. And in this second consciousness, your relationship with your past is being continually revised. The third thesis of our journey becomes clear here. You are always two selves, the one who lives by day and the one who integrates by night. Both are essential. Both are you. Both attending, in their own ways, to the long arc of becoming the person you are still becoming. Studies of people who have experienced significant childhood challenges have shown that good sleep is among the most important factors in long-term emotional recovery. This is not a claim that sleep solves everything. It doesn't. But it is a quiet, repeated finding that rest is medicine. The nights you sleep are the nights your brain has the clearest access to its own healing capacities. If you are tending to something difficult from long ago, the best thing you can offer it, in this hour, is sleep itself. Not understanding, not effort, just rest. Neuroscientist Dr. Sarah Mednick has conducted extensive research on how specific sleep stages affect different types of memory. Her findings suggest that emotional memories are most processed during REM, procedural memories during slow-wave sleep, and the integration of complex, personally meaningful material happens during the interplay between the two. Childhood memories involve all three types: emotional, procedural, and personal. This is why childhood-era dreams often feel uniquely rich, drawing on multiple memory systems at once. Your sleep tonight is an orchestrated collaboration. The different parts of your brain are playing together. The idea of memory as reconstruction rather than retrieval has transformed the psychology of self-understanding. Each time you remember a childhood event, you're not playing a recording. You're building it again, from fragments. With current materials, sleep is the most active reconstruction phase of all. The memory you will have tomorrow of a particular moment from age 6 is not quite the same memory you had yesterday. It has been carefully reassembled with wisdom you didn't have last time. This means your past is, in a strange and gentle way, alive, not static, not finished, but continually being loved into its current shape. A certain kind of peace becomes possible when we understand that the brain is always working on our behalf. Even in the hours we seem absent from ourselves, there is no neglect in sleep. There is no abandonment of the self. The opposite is true. Sleep is the most concentrated form of self-care the body knows. Every memory that rises, every feeling that surfaces, every quiet shift that happens in the dark is part of this care. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to deserve it. You simply have to rest and let it happen. The concept of homeostatic regulation in neuroscience refers to the brain's tendency to return to balance after disturbance. Sleep is one of the most powerful homeostatic tools the body has. Emotional memories that caused imbalance during the day are rebalanced during the night. This doesn't mean they disappear. It means they're integrated into a larger equilibrium. The child you were is, in this sense, being balanced against the adult you are, and the meeting point is a quiet, stable ground. You are coming into equilibrium with yourself, one night at a time. Dreams involving childhood environments, the old house, the backyard, the schoolyard, often occur in a specific phase of REM sleep, called phasic REM, characterized by bursts of eye movement and intense brain activity. These are the dreams that feel most vivid, most real, most emotionally resonant. Their vividness is not random. It reflects the full engagement of the visual and emotional systems. Your brain is not merely remembering these places. It's rebuilding them, inhabiting them, offering the child in you one more night there, safely, inside the boundaries of sleep. The psychologist Carl Jung proposed that the unconscious mind communicates through symbols, particularly in dreams. While Jung's theories extend beyond current neuroscience, research has confirmed that dreams often handle emotional material in symbolic rather than literal form. A childhood memory may appear disguised as an unfamiliar house, an unknown figure, a strange landscape. This is not confusion. It's translation. The sleeping brain speaks a language older than words, and it uses that language to process feelings that language alone cannot reach. Tonight, if the images seem strange, trust that the meaning is being gently understood, somewhere beneath them. A tender discovery in contemporary sleep research is that the brain processes grief during REM sleep in ways that support gradual, healthy adaptation. This applies not only to recent grief, but to old, unprocessed grief from childhood. If something was lost long ago, à personne qu'à sa place, a sense of safety. Your sleeping brain has been tending to that loss patiently across many nights. The loss does not vanish, but its weight becomes one that the adult can carry. The grief of the child becomes the gentle ache of the wise adult. This transformation happens mostly in sleep. Memory research has increasingly recognized the role of context, both internal and external, in determining what memories surface at any given moment. Your mood, your environment, your physical state, all subtly shape which childhood memories your brain selects for replay. This is why the memories that arise tonight may feel particularly fitting for where you are in your life right now. The selection is intelligent. It's personal. It's responsive. Your brain is not merely reviewing the past. It's curating it in a way that matches what your current self is ready to receive. Childhood memory has taught us that our sense of self is not a single, fixed thing. It's a living collaboration across time. The child, the adolescent, the adult, all continue to exist inside you, in the form of memories, patterns, and felt senses. Sleep is the space where these selves meet. The conversations they have are quiet, emotional, and mostly beyond conscious awareness. But their effects are real. You wake each morning having been visited, inside yourself, by everyone you've ever been. And here, at the heart of this long journey, the big idea comes gently clear. Your brain replays childhood memories not to haunt you, but to heal you, softening old emotions one night at a time. Breathe, and let the breath know you without needing you to remember anything. The cycles of your life are turning quietly. Seasons within seasons. Sleeps within sleeps. Every chapter of you has had its own dawn and dusk, and still you remain, resting now in the warm darkness that holds them all. There is nothing to do. There is no one to be, only this breath, only this quiet, only this hour in which everything you've ever been is softly accepted. The night is round, like a held hand. You are inside it, small and safe and completely welcome. At every age, memory, we are learning, is less a possession than a relationship. You don't own your past. You are in conversation with it. Every night, the conversation deepens. The child you were answers, the adult you are, and the adult answers back. Something softens between them. Sleep is the room where this conversation happens without interruption. The brain's capacity for emotional integration during sleep is, in a real sense, a form of love. Not the love of romance, but the love of attention, of patience, of refusal to abandon. Your sleeping brain does not abandon your past. It stays with it. It sits with it. It tends to it until morning comes. There is a softness to deep sleep that the waking mind rarely knows. The body becomes still. The breath becomes slow. The heart quiets. In this softness, old memories can be held, the way rain holds a tired leaf. without effort, without force, simply with the gentle weight of presence. Research has shown that even difficult memories, revisited during healthy sleep, tend to gain coherence over time. They become stories. They find their place. They stop feeling like open wounds and start feeling like chapters in a larger book. This is the brain's quiet work, not erasure, integration. The hippocampus never stops attending to what you've lived. Even now, as you rest, it is reviewing the archives with remarkable tenderness. It does not judge. It does not hurry. It only reads, softly, each page, choosing which will be tended to tonight. You are in excellent hands, the hands of your own brain, loyal, beyond words. Dreams that revisit childhood often arrive without fanfare. They are simply there, like an old friend, sitting quietly beside the bed. You don't have to engage with them. You don't have to understand them. Their presence itself is the gift, the knowing that you are not alone with what you've carried. That is enough. The slow waves of deep sleep move through the brain at approximately 1 cycle per second. Rhythmic as a tide, these waves carry memory, emotion, and integration in their gentle motion. You are being rocked tonight, biologically, by the slowest lullaby a body can sing to itself. Every wave softens what came before. Children sleep differently than adults, but one thing remains constant. The brain tends to itself in rest. This has been true of every human who has ever lived. Every child you once was slept and was tended to. Every adult you became slept and was tended to. The tending is older than your memory of it. There is a certain peace in knowing that we are not alone in this rhythm. Billions of minds across the world are, at any given moment, processing their own pasts in their own sleep. You are part of a vast, unseen company. Everyone is tending to their own child. Everyone is being tended to. The adult you are has survived everything the child you were encountered. This, alone, is evidence of quiet strength. Your sleeping brain knows this. It proceeds with the confidence of a system that has already done this work many times. Whatever its surface is tonight, it has handled before. You are in the rhythm of an experienced caretaker. Research in contemplative neuroscience has suggested that practices of self-compassion during waking hours align with the brain's natural nighttime healing patterns. In other words, the kindness you learn to give yourself during the day helps the kindness that happens automatically at night. The day and the night are two hands doing the same gentle work. Memory, over time, becomes less about facts and more about essences. The exact details of a childhood afternoon fade, but the felt sense of it, the warmth, the color, the belonging, lingers. Sleep preserves essences better than it preserves facts. What stays with you most deeply when you wake is the feeling of having been held. There is evidence that the final stages of REM sleep before waking are particularly rich in integrative dreaming, in which emotional threads from the night are gently drawn together. These dreams often include echoes of childhood. If you dream near morning and the dream feels soft, this is your brain offering its closing blessing on the work of the night. The architecture of the brain, its cells, its connections, its rhythms, all seem designed to perform this nightly work. It is not a luxury. It is not an accident. It is one of the most ancient capacities of the human organism. You are doing something very old tonight. Something every ancestor of yours has done. Resting, returning, tending. So could your brain heal old emotional weight through nothing more than sleep? It already has. Many times. Every night you've ever slept well has been a night of quiet healing. The morning you felt slightly lighter for no reason. That was the work of the night before. You have been receiving this care for as long as you've been alive. There is a particular tenderness in the relationship between the sleeping self and the remembering self. The sleeping self does not require the remembering self to be strong, to be brave, to be wise. It only requires presence, and even presence is generous. The sleeping self can tend to a remembering self who is simply there, breathing. The small rituals of preparing for sleep, the softening of lights, the slowing of movement, the gentling of thought, signal to the brain that the time for tending has come. Each night, you invite this, tending through your own quiet preparations. Whatever memories arise tonight, and you have, in some sense, invited them with the kindness of readiness to rest. In the deepest hours, there is no difference between the child and the adult. Sleep dissolves the distinction. What's left is simply awareness. Resting, breathing, alive. In this dissolution, healing becomes possible in ways the waking mind cannot achieve. To sleep is, in a sense, to be gently undone and gently remade. You do not have to remember in order to heal. You do not have to understand in order to soften. The brain knows this. It does not require your conscious participation. It only requires your willingness to rest. Rest is the whole practice. Everything else is being taken care of. There is a quality to certain nights when something particularly significant has been processed that leaves a subtle grace in the morning. You wake not different, but somehow more at home in yourself. This is the brain's private thank you. You offered it the conditions, and it did the work, and now you both share in the soft result. The love the body has for itself, expressed in sleep, is among the most reliable loves a human can know. It does not waver. It does not tire. It does not ask for thanks. Every night, regardless of what happened during the day, the body offers this love unconditionally. You are a recipient of it right now. The answer to our question, why does your brain replay childhood memories while you sleep, is not something to solve. It is something to rest into. The replay is the healing. The visit is the repair. The return is the return home. Your brain is not troubling you. It is, in the oldest and softest way, caring for you. When morning comes, you will not remember most of what your brain has tended to tonight. This is not a loss. The work does not require your memory. The softening happens in the doing, not in the recalling. The child in you will have been met. The adult in you will have been renewed, and the day can begin again. There is only this breath, this bed, This quiet company of every version of yourself you have ever been. All of them are here. All of them are welcome. All of them are being loved by the sleeping intelligence that has always been loving them. From the very first night, you closed your eyes as a child. Until now. The real healing isn't in the memory, it's in the meeting. Every night you rest, the adult meets the child, and the child is softened, and the adult is fuller, and the night is kind. Your brain replays childhood memories while you sleep, not to haunt you, but to heal you. Softening old emotions, one night at a time. You are, in this very moment, being gently met by yourself. There is nothing more loving the body can do. We've traveled tonight from the first whisper of the hippocampus, reading old pages, through the sharp wave ripples that carry memories in flashes smaller than a blink, through the patient integration of emotional schemas and the tender biochemistry of REM sleep, where cortisol falls silent. We've seen that the brain's nightly return to childhood is not a disturbance, but a form of care, older than language. The sleeping self meets the remembering self, and something softens between them. Every single night, reliably, without fail. This is the psychology of sleep, the quiet science of how the mind, the body, and time itself collaborate in the making of a whole person, one soft breath at a time. Let everything you've heard tonight dissolve gently into the breath. You don't need to carry the facts forward. You don't need to remember the science. Your body knows what it needs to know. Your brain is already doing what it has always done. All the ages you've ever been are sleeping here together now. Small ones held inside, larger ones. Held inside the quiet room. Held inside the night itself. There is no boundary between you and rest. There is no boundary between the child and the adult. Only breath. Only warmth, only the long and gentle rhythm of being loved into sleep. Perhaps tonight, something older inside you has been tended to, and something newer has been made possible. A soft subscribe helps another weary heart find this sanctuary for their own quiet healing. Thank you for walking this tender path together, one sleepy soul at a time. You don't need to hold any of this now. Let the facts drift away. Let the science rest. Let the child inside you sleep. Let the adult inside you sleep. Let the memories soften into nothing more than breath. You are safe. You are held. You are cared for. Even now, even in the dark, sleep is the kindest room in your life. Enter it fully. You are home. Rest now, dear one, and let the night love you into morning. Good night.